These are the topics of this model. Section 1, Introduction to Logistics. Section 2, Logistic Management. Section 3, Transport in the Supply Chain. Section 4, Distribution. Section 5, Distribution Management Systems. Section 6, Warehousing. Section 7, Global Supply Chain Management. Section 8, Legal and Cost Issues in the Supply Chain. Section 9, Performance Measurement. Section 10, People in the Supply Chain. And Section 11, Collaborative Innovation. And in the last session, the session 12, we will do a review of all the topics that we covered in this model. Okay, these are the objectives of this model. The idea is to give you a solid understanding of the analytical tools necessary to solve supply chain problems. You will learn the strategic importance of good supply chain design, planning, operation in every firm, and we will examine the key drivers of supply chain performance and will convey those drivers that you may use in the conceptual and practical point of view during the planning and operation to improve performance. That are the end key objectives of this model. reading this book, Supply Chain Management from Vision to Implementation. I strongly advise you to get the book so you can get more insights about what we were covering this. Okay, and let's get started. This is a key concept that I will let you to keep in mind when we talk about the difference between logistics and supply chain management. First, supply chain management are all the activities that are associated with sourcing, procurement, conversion, and logistic management. That is part of the supply chain management. On the other hand, logistic is a small portion of the supply chain management. So keep that in mind to follow up on the following topics. So what are the components of the supply chain management? As you can see in this graph, you will have the first integration and information sharing in a very effective supply chain management whole process is based on information sharing that are key for all the parts and models to work well. Then you have the product development that is also part of the cycle, uh, and it can get improved based on the information that get on the result of the market. Then procurement and manufacturing, how those products that were developed will be produced. And then logistics will take those products to the market. And then customer service, what happened after we deliver the products. And then performance measurement, because you will measure all of the behavior of the product, the process, the logistics itself, how quickly is the product development integrated the changes that are needed to move more and to serve more efficiently the customer. Okay, one important thing to keep in mind is that supply chain, that as I show you in the graph, is a very broader term which refer to the connections, as I pointed out in the slide, from the suppliers to the ultimate customers. It's very important to get the raw materials that you need to produce all of the things in the way they were developed and in cost and efficient manner, and at the end to get to the consumer in the way that it's planned and in the way the consumer needed. Also, is very important to keep in mind that right now, through the improvement of the technology, new tools, new systems, the supply chain management could be even better in their performance and the all data that you can get from the market and the customers. And at the end, supply chain also evolved as an improvement of the logistics management from the past year. So these 3 points are very important to keep in mind when you think about the supply chain. Okay, let's get back to the comparison of between logistics management and supply chain management. I want to go down in this concept again. First, the meaning. Logistics, as you know, maybe you may know, is the integration, movement, and maintenance of the goods in and out the organization. That is logistics. For the other hand, supply chain management is more related with the coordination and management of the all of the activities that go through the information that you get from the market, the development of the product, the production, manufacturing of those products, then land logistics that we just defined it, and then go to the consumer, the market, and then to get the performance measurement. That are the whole meaning of the supply chain. What is the objective of logistic management? Is the customer satisfaction. You want to get there as fast as possible. And by the other hand, when you handle the whole supply chain management and you integrate the logistics, you get a competitive advantage. In terms of the evolution, the concept of logistics management have been evolved early. That's I guess from my point of view is the like the first thing that a company get or get ready to implement. In the other hand, supply chain management is considered like a modern concept. In terms of how many organizations are involved in the logistics management, it's only one, it's logistics, but in the other hand, supply chains integrate multiple areas of the company. You get information from the team of product development, the marketing team. You get information from the business intelligence area. You get information from the manufacturing. And get information and work with the manufacturing area, with the logistics team, and then the whole finance department, and get the supply chain management involved, the whole company. And at the end, one in another, logistics management is a fraction of the supply chain, and supply chain management is considered for some actors, and I guess from my point of view too, like a new version of the in more detail about the definition of the logistics management in case you have a doubt of what are the different. Logistics management is the process with integrated movement of goods, service, information, capital, all the things from the sourcing of raw material until it consumer that is known as a logistics management. You can have inbound logistics that connect the procurement of material and everything that is bound to need to produce the goods, the service, etc. And the outbound logistics there is the processes that involve all the shipment of the final product or service to the final customer. Um, are part of this the warehousing, the protective packing, or the fulfillment, stock control, maintaining equilibrium between demand and supply and stock. This is the main definition of logistics. On the other hand, the supply chain management, we go into details, is a series of interconnected activities. This is another graph that summarizes all the things that are interconnected in between the information and the processes recurring through the supply chain. You have the information technology, all of the transportation, material handling for the production, and the industry initiatives that support these activities. So it includes the movement of raw materials to the finished goods on to reach the end user. That's the supply chain. It's also defining the outcome of the efforts of multiple organizations that help making this chain of activities successful. As I just explained before, the supply chain management, from a point of view, is that integrated process that goes through all of the key areas of any company that produces or provide any services. So the key thing here for me is the information technology. Without information, all of these areas cannot work efficiently in an integrated manner. Often this this include the entire organization, but also the other stakeholders like the suppliers, manufacturers of the raw materials that you need through your process, the wholesalers, the retailers, and the consumers. All of these let's call their stakeholders take part of the supply chain management. Also, this include all the integration, sourcing, procurement, production, testing, logistics, customer service, performance measurement, etc. All of these processes are key part, like we can call this as the multidimensional approach that manage the flow of materials. When we talk about materials and products and services, we also have to keep in mind that it includes the flow of all the information that go through all the part of the processes. So at the end, the supply chain is a multi-enterprise. The conventional scope that you will see between the red, let's see, the area, it is about what used to be about acquire, convert, and distribute. That's the main three phases of this conventional scope. But if we go through, if you broke those red lines and you integrate all of the, let's see, elements that are there, you will see that you need to integrate product and information flow between your suppliers and then the focus of the company, the customers and end users. You need all that information to take all of the insights that you need to change your packages, to change the presentation of the product, the amount of units sold, the minimum units of to be sold, the color of your packages, the way you distribute, the velocity that you need to distribute that, the final price, the cost. You need all the information. The only way to get that is to get the whole process from the suppliers to the customers and the end user of your products or your services. Um, Again, in this comparison between logistics versus supply chain management. The Council of Logistics Management said logistics is the process of planning, implementing, and controlling the efficient, cost-effective flow and storage of raw materials, in-process inventory, finished goods, and related information from point of origin to point of consumption with purpose of conforming the customer requirements. At the end, we are talking about the whole process that implies the movement of in and out of raw materials and process and finished products inside the company. Let's see this other quote. Hansfield and Nichols, supply chain management, on the other hand, is the integration of all the activities associated with the flow of information goods from raw materials through to the end users, as well as information flow through improved supply chain relationships to achieve sustainable competitive advantage. So keep in mind, again, when we talk about supply chain management, that we are talking about the integration of whole activities inside the company that need two things to be a competitive advantage. First, the flow of information, and the second, to handle well the relationship between all of the business units that are related with the processes between supply and chain management. If you keep in mind what I just explained about what is needed to handle the supply chain as a competitive advantage, at the end is the integration of all of the areas of the company. If you see this schematic of the supply chain, you get more clear about when I show you that it's the integration of the units of the company. You will see that you will have like the environment when the company operates, and then you will have the intercorporate coordination between function shifting, third-party providers, relationship management, supply chain structure, and then you have interfunctional coordination, trust, commitment, risk dependence, behaviors. It's very important. You have inside all of the areas of the company that go through marketing, sales, research and development, forecasting, production, purchasing, logistics, information system, finance, customer service. At the end, it's the whole area of the company. So, what are the outputs of this? The product, the service, information, financial resources, demand, forecast. This schematic is very good. And then you have all the relation between the suppliers, all of the suppliers, the focus firm, the customer, and the customers of the customer. All of these at the end, you are looking for when we talk about the competitive advantage is customer satisfaction, value, profitability, and at the end you will go ahead in this when a company handle this well as will be ahead of your competition in the market. So at the end, the supply chain is a multi-enterprise. The conventional scope that you will see between the red, let's see the area, it is about what used to be about acquire, convert, and distribute. That's the main three phases of this conventional scope. But if we go through, if you broke those red lines and you integrate all of the, let's see, elements that are there, you will see that you need to integrate product and information flow between your suppliers and then the focus of the company, the customers and end users. You need all that information to take all of the insights that you need to change your packages, to change the presentation of the product, the amount of units sold, the minimum units of to be sold, the color of your packages, the way you distribute, the velocity that you need to distribute that, the final price of the cost. You need all the information. The only way to get that is to get the whole process from the suppliers to the customers and the end user of your products or your services. to see it is the multi-dimension of the supply chain management. You see this triangle, you will need the whole integration of the interfunctional and inter-organization coordination, and that could be part of the activities and process administration. This is key for the supply chain management. Talk about the importance of the supply chain management. We go through details about how this boosts customer services, reduce operating costs, improve financial position of the company, and it have another societal roles that could be associated with ensure human survival. Let's see, improve the quality of life, um, protect cultural freedom and development. Let's go through all in detail. As you will see, I guess you will figure out from all of the details that we have been talking in the previous sessions. It puts customer services because customer what expect the customer? The correct product and quantity to be delivered on time. This is one of the benefits of the supply chain management, and also the customer expect to have the product at the right location, and the customer satisfaction depends on that. To be delivered at the right time, customer expect product to be delivered on time, and right after support, customers expect products to be serviced quickly. So at the end, if you handle or get to handle the supply chain management of any company in an effective manner, you will boost customer service because you will get the products in the correct time, uh, place, and in the way that the customer expect. Also, the second huge benefit is reducing the operating cost. You will decrease the purchasing cost because you will learn uh, what raw materials do you need to purchase to get the products or the services in the way that the customer expects. Decrease production cost because you will learn how the products or the services have been used at the end of the supply chain, and then you will get that into the design of more efficient products and to get the products in the right time that it needed. And decrease the total supply chain cost. For example, let's say the manufacturers and retailers depend on supply chain manager to design network that meet services goals at the least cost total. When you know when the customer requires the products, for example, you can let's say that you have a company and you're the owner of the company. They say they want to deliver the products in 2 days, but the customer expect the products or it's you ask the customer how many days he will expect to wait for the or he will wait for the products. It will handle different times depending on the location of the final customer. So at the end, you will stress it the production processes to get the products in 2 days when the customer does not expect that. Or it could be in the other hand around that it takes 10 days to deliver a product and the customer expect to get that in 2 days. So that will require a change in the way you work your production, and it will in some cases help you decrease the total supply chain cost because one thing or another will cost more or less depending on how you design it. example is a well-known, successful supply chain management process from Dell company. Dell's has a revolutionary approach that involves making each computer based on a specific customer order, then shipping the computer directly to the customer. So that at the end, Dell does not handle huge inventories of the same product, expecting to sell that through retailers. It works directly through the customer requirements. So this is a very efficiently way to handle the production and the whole change of these products in the different from other companies. Benefits that I love related with the financial position. Imagine that the firms really value the supply chain management because they increase the profit leverage. For example, this is a very impact of financial savings in the US. The consumer eats 2.7 million packages of cereal annually. So imagine if you decrease the supply chain cost from 1 cent per cereal box will result in $30 million saved industry, which means 30 billion boxes of cereal flow through to improve supply chain over a 5-year period. So that's a very interesting decrease. Also, decrease in fixed assets because as a supply chain managers, they can identify um, that the company will need less warehouses or facilities that are like a huge cost for the traditional approach of the company that are focused only on logistics. And on the other hand, it increases the cash flow because the supply chain management managers identify the way to get faster to the customers, and you know that they will increase the cash available for the company. First, the social roles of the supply chain management. Imagine, get in your mind that an efficient supply chain management can ensure human survival. How does it work? You know that we as a human we depend on to get the primary needs as soon as possible. One amazing example is in 2005 when the Hurricane Katrina flew New Orleans. They get quickly the water, clean water, the food that they needed. Imagine that the first weekend on the rescue effort, they get to that area 1.9 million meals and 6.7 million liters of water that were delivered. And this was possible because it get through a very efficient supply chain management. For example, how supply chain improve the human healthcare is in case of the supply chain of medicines and support in case of emergency, it will get very quickly to the areas where it needed. Also, the equipment, the helicopters, all the logistics that are behind that is far more just to move in and out the medicines. So the equipment is also a whole integration of the areas surrounding the supply chain, and also protects human from climate strange. And I love this example because they say during a massive coast in storm January 1999, 80,000 miles of electrical power lines fell, resulting in no electricity for most of the area, Montreal and Quebec. But this was a very strange call. 30 died people, 25% of Quebec residents left home. So at the end, the whole government that spent 1 million in home damages and 1 billion in government expenditures, but it will get very fast because the whole supply chain helped to get the electricity, energy to home business as soon as possible. This is a very interesting to think of the supply chain in terms of improved quality of life. I love these two examples because first is the foundation for the economic growth. If you think in terms of the infrastructure that is needed to move quickly the goods and services to the final customers, it also helps you increase um, the quality of life. For example, in this, I live in Latin America, and some countries they don't have like a cold change, they call cold supply chain of all the vegetables and fruits. So at the end, when you get to the supermarket, it's very expensive because it's not the whole change protected with a well infrastructure. So at the end, us as a end consumers, you pay when the infrastructure is not well developed. So this is a competitive advantage, and when a country have this, it contributes to the quality of life of the citizens, and at the end to the strong economies, and you can produce more because it will get fresh to your kitchen, for example. And in the same line, it improves the standard of living because societies with a high developed supply chain, they have like interstate highway system, bus rolling network, numerous modern ports and exports. It will help the connection and the interchange of goods, and at the end, it will decrease the cost, as I just explained. And it's well known that, for example, China is making a good effort to improve their infrastructure because supply chain cost is around 20%, but for China it's 40%. So at the end, they're working hard to improve that. And remember that China has the half of the population. And change health and the job creation and opportunity to creation in energy use. And the first about the job creation, but there is a huge opportunity for professional of this area. For example, the U.S. logistic activities represent 9.9%, almost 10%, and they translate into around 10 million US logistic jobs. Imagine the rest of the world. And increase in the terms of the energy use, at the end, when all of the activities that involve both human and product transportation, and as a byproduct of these activities, scarce energy is supplied. For example, in the current transportation accounts for 30% of the world energy use and 95% of global consumptions. As a designer or supply chain professional, role developing energy efficiency supply chains with the use of fewer resources, and this is an innovation that have been increased with the energy with the use of clean energy infrastructure. So at the end, from my point of view, the role of the supply chain professional is more wider that is expected of we have been talking about. Kind of with clean supply chain processes it is still an opportunity to decrease pollution. The type of packages that are used, the way that the process of distribution processes work, how it handle transportation, the monoxide of carbon emission. Also, the whole design of the network is a interesting position that the supply chain manager have to develop more sustainable processes and methods to transport the goods and services to the final customer. I guess we can discuss further about this, but from my point of view, is the way how you develop a more efficient packages, the way to get to use less paper, or to use more efficiently the transportation to get more things to move in one time, or to develop different. For example, they use less paper in the whole supply chain processes, and get to move to use more technology and information go through digital manner. I guess that will help to get more opportunities to decrease that pollution. End of the introduction from the module of supply chain management. Let's go further from the next section to learn more about what we just introduced to you in this part of the section.